Welcome to Make and Decorate, a podcast for makers who love to sew, quilt, and decorate. Hey everyone, welcome to the Make and Decorate podcast. This is season 2, episode 37. And it is just you and me today. There is no guest. I'm breaking up some of the guest episodes with some solo episodes with just me. And I've got lots of good things to talk about today. So let's get going. All right. So first of all, happy Halloween. This episode publishes on Halloween, last day of October. Can you believe it's the end of October? I sure cannot. I cannot believe it. But that's what happens when it's your favorite season and it just seems to go by in a flash of an eye. So that's at least how it is for me. But I do really try to savor every moment that I can because I just love the weather of fall and late summer and the colors. The colors here are amazing. They are at their peak in the Chicago area. So when you're driving down any residential street around here and, oh man, I bet the Chicago Botanic Garden is just amazing right now. But the colors are the bright red leaves and gold leaves and deep purple aubergine eggplant colored leaves. They're just all out right now. It is the peak. It is the most beautiful color that is here during the year. So I'm really, really enjoying it. It's just beautiful eye candy to see when you're out and about outside. And there's something about the maple trees that have the super bright red leaves, but they're not all red. There's like an illumination. They look illuminated because there are these gold leaves, these bright yellow into the gold color that are underneath the red ones. And it just looks like the tree is sort of like glowing or illuminated by the yellow leaves. So, yeah, those are some of my favorites I like to see. And in addition to the purple ones too, those are really, really pretty. I harvested my homegrown pumpkins a week or so ago, and I had 3 pumpkins. So if you follow me on Instagram, which is stephanie.socha.design, I posted a photograph of those 3 pumpkins, which I'm so proud of. There was a really nice big one and 2 medium-sized ones. So, and I have been avoiding doing anything with them. They are sitting on my back porch, and it's kind of cool out there. So they're almost like in a little bit of a refrigerated kind of environment because it's been really chilly here. It's been in the 40s. And actually on Halloween, when this airs, we're supposed to have a little bit of snow. Yes, snow. Unbelievable. But yep, here we are. Winter is coming. So I've been avoiding it because I don't know why I've made these pumpkins so precious to me. But I have. It's like that fabric that you just cringe. You just don't want to cut into it because you love it so much and you don't want to, cut into it or make mistakes or whatever. So that's how I'm acting with these pumpkins. And it's crazy because the pumpkins are perishable. It's not like I can put them in my little pumpkin stash and pull them out and look at them anytime I want, which is why I took a bunch of photographs because I knew, second of all, we are not growing pumpkins again because my husband says it's just our yard is way too small. We have a urban city backyard. And it's kind of like the size of a postage stamp. I know, but it was really a lot of fun to grow these pumpkins this summer. And okay, so we found a fourth pumpkin, and it's a big one too. And it's beautiful. So I got 4 pumpkins out of my 1 pumpkin vine this summer. So happy. I'm so excited about this. So yeah, 4 pumpkins. So now I know. I know that I have to cut into these pumpkins because I am going to roast the pumpkin seeds. They're a very healthy snack. And, anything homegrown is better for you than processed in the stores, right? Yeah. Technically, I could roast the pumpkin flesh and make pumpkin puree. I didn't know this, but even jack-o'-lantern pumpkins, the flesh is edible. I had no idea. I thought it was just the sugar pumpkins that you could eat, but it's not. But I'm probably not going to do that just because for the sake of time. So yeah, I'm really so excited about the little pumpkins. What else? So yeah, the cold weather has arrived in the area, and for those of you who do live in colder climates like I do, this time of year it seems like you get a appetite for comfort foods, like nice, warm, homemade comfort foods. So that's what I've been kind of cooking lately, and I made this pot roast in my Instant Pot, and it only took an hour, which is amazing. It's a pretty easy recipe. I'm going to put a link to it in my show notes, but I've talked about this YouTube person before. It's Press Your Luck, and he has been on GMA, Good Morning America. So this guy, and he just published a cookbook. So he's really becoming big, and I've been following his channel for the last couple of years. So 2 years ago, when I first started following his channel, I mean, he was just like a normal everyday YouTube person putting up videos. But his popularity has grown because his recipes are really good, and he does a really good job demonstrating them on his channel. And he has this thing where he snaps his finger, and then he'll show an onion, and he'll say, dice an onion, snap, and then you'll see the onion diced. So that's kind of cool too, because he doesn't make you watch him dice the entire onion. So it's kind of fun. So yeah, this Instant Pot roast is pretty amazing. And I think the other thing that's great about him that has contributed to his popularity is that he does, some shortcuts with the recipes. He uses bouillon instead of, sometimes in place of the actual chicken stock or broth. But he will add other flavors, what they call umami flavors of soy sauce and Worcestershire sauce in the sauces of his recipes, and red wine. So I made a bolognese recipe of his that had red wine in it, and it was so delicious. So anyway, yeah, I've been using my Instant Pot a lot, and it's a really good way to make these meals that typically take 3 to 4 hours to make, and you can condense it down to about an hour. What else? So with a change of seasons, it kind of prompts me to do some, I guess, what do we call it? Fall cleaning. And there's this room in our house that we use as a closet because this is a super old, 100-year-old 2-flat house with tiny rooms and even tinier closets. So the one room we use as a closet, one of the walls has all these closet organizers installed, and that is my closet. So then my husband has taken over the 3-foot by 4-foot closet in our bedroom. So Oh, that's how it should be, right? But so it was time for me to switch out the seasonal clothes and put away the summer clothes and pull out the winter clothes. And this room just needed to be thoroughly cleaned out because it sort of becomes a catch-all for anything that we don't want to deal with or put away at the moment. And then it starts stacking up until you're like, what is going on in this room? I can like barely walk around in it. So, yeah, that was an all day affair for me last Saturday. But man, it feels so good when you're done. It just was because when I do this type of cleaning, this like, deep cleaning and organizing, I do it like I am like doing every little nook and cranny crevice type of sort of thing. And yeah, so, and that's why I don't do that often like a lot of other people do. Some people really love to clean, like do deep cleanings every week. It's like part of their routine. I just don't like to do it. I want my time, my free time to like do sewing and quilting and other things. So as minimal time as I can devote to housekeeping, I do. And yeah, I mean, that's just how I am. Not that I have completely filthy house. I mean, I do clean, but my husband and I, it's just my husband and I and our dog, and we're untidy people. And by that, I mean, the remote controls are out, books and magazines are out, there will be shoes and socks all over the place for my husband until we'll do the cleaning. But I mean, it's just not meticulous every second of the day. So, and I know that bothers certain people, but well, that's just how we are. Gotta enjoy the other things in life. You're never gonna say, "Oh, I wished I would have cleaned more." No, I'll probably say, "I wish I could have quilted more." Right? One thing that I did not get rid of were I had like about 5 or 6 pairs of jeans that either were outdated and all of them didn't fit. These are like, upwards of, anywhere from 5 to 10-year-old pairs of jeans. I don't know why I've hung on to stuff like that. It's mostly like with clothing that I've done that with, where I think, I will fit into this again someday, but then, when you look at things again and you haven't seen them in a few years and you're just like, this is not even like in style anymore. This is so outdated. Like those blue jeans that have had the strié design onto them. This was like really big, maybe like 7 or 8 years ago. And yeah, those aren't in anymore. Like nobody is wearing that. So what I've done is I donated like everything else, but these jeans will provide some good like usable yardage fabric for quilts and dog beds. So I'm going to cut those up into yardage pieces, because before I used to just like toss them into a laundry basket as is, but then I never feel like dismantling them and getting them ready to sew. So now I will have them all cut and ready to pull when you do a fabric pull and to use them. So yeah, and there's all different types of shades and colors, so I think it'll make really interesting projects. And speaking of fabrics, I have like all of a sudden done this little shopping spree of quilt fabrics. And it's mainly because of the newsletters that I am signed up for. And then you see like all these really good deals all of a sudden. So, for instance, and you probably can still get some of this fabric from So Sweetness, but Sarah from So Sweetness has a sale on her Tula fabrics. They're Tula bundles, but these are because So Sweetness is a bag pattern making company. So her bundles of fabrics are in full yard increments. So I got 5 yards of fabric for around $33. That's just a little over $6 a yard. I have never gotten Tula Pink fabric for that price. So that was a good deal. And another good deal was from Pineapple Fabrics. This is no longer going on, so sorry about that. But I mean, because they just did it for a limited time. Like I think it was like today only or something like that. Or maybe it was a couple days. But they had Allison Glass Sunprint fabric on sale for like something ridiculous, like $5 a yard. It was so cool. So I jumped on that because I love Allison Glass fabrics. And yeah, these are like feel good buys too because you're saving a lot of money. And I haven't really purchased a ton of fabrics for at least a few months, right? I know that's not really saying much, but hey, it's been a while. So I've been pretty good about not getting new fabrics unless I absolutely, that's my rule now is just, I used to buy fabrics just because they either were on clearance or went on sale. But now, I mean, and I've kind of made this a universal rule with everything like clothing and makeup and my fabrics. I have to love it if I'm going to spend money on it. And that really works. And I'm glad I do that now. So yeah, I got some really nice Allison Glass sun prints. They're not here yet. So this was just on sale last week and I'm waiting for them to arrive. And then I got some Kona cotton. This big box store, you all know who it is. They periodically put Kona cotton on sale for like 50% off. So they had that going on and I got stocked up on some colors I normally don't order, like wasabi. And that's it's kind of a cool, like greenish yellow fabric. And then like a gray and an aqua. There were a couple of colors that they ended up not having. And it's weird because they have stock availability showing on their website, and these fabrics were in stock at the time I ordered them, and then all of a sudden they weren't, and they had to cancel them off my order. So that's always disappointing, but anyway, it is what it is. Those are all the new fabrics that I've recently gotten. And then I purchased a couple of foundation paper piece patterns. Well, one of them is brand new, and I've never purchased a pattern from this designer before. It's called Flying Parrots, and she did a pattern called Ocean Ponies. And they are seahorses, and it's a pair of seahorses with their curly tails entwined, and inside of their entwined tails, they make a heart shape. It is so cute. And I love seahorses, so I got that pattern. And one other motivating thing to when you purchase a pattern is that if you're on their newsletter, these pattern designers usually give their newsletter subscribers early notice of patterns before they release them and a discount. So that's what happened with this one, and she gave a really nice discount. We had a code to enter in, so I jumped on it. I mean, I really, really loved this design, and she also included with the pattern the small ones. She called the baby seahorses, so that you could make a quilt of a family of seahorses if you wanted to. But I am going to make the mini quilt. I want more mini quilts in my sewing area. I only have one little lonely mini quilt, and it's in my office on my pinboard. But that's one of the things that I want to add to my sewing room are mini quilts. And this is a perfect little mini quilt. The other foundation paper piece pattern that I got is from Juliet Vanderheiden. I think I'm saying that right, but she is the Tartan Kiwi. And she's actually coming up on a future episode, by the way. Yay. So she re-released an older pattern of hers, and she sort of redesigned it a little bit. And it is the Singing in the Rain pattern. And it's the one with the girl holding the open umbrella, and she's in her rain boots. Really, really cute. A very nice, popular design. I know this design has gone around so many quilting swaps and sew-alongs and that sort of thing. So it's pretty popular. But I never got it before, so I decided, hey, it's newly updated, designed, and I get a discount. So there we go. So that's it. That's pretty much my little spending spree that I've done in the last couple of weeks here. One other thing I want to tell you about is every year I like to design and get printed by Shutterfly a wall calendar for my kitchen. And I love it because it's personalized to us, and we have photos of ourselves. So, I mean, we used to get like these all different types of themes. Like, you know, a few years we would have like the wildlife animals on the calendar. I don't know, just all different types. But since we got Cooper and this became available, you know, nowadays you can print anything on anything. So why not do your own custom wall calendar? And it's really fun. They have millions of types of templates and designs and color palettes for whatever you need it for. And you just kind of plop in your photographs and all of these pre-designed placeholders for the photos. A few of the calendars they have allows you to customize it even further, and you can resize all of the picture holders. They have these graphic elements from the design. So for instance, this calendar I have, it's got this really cool watercolor type floral design, very similar to the Rifle Paper Company design. And they have all these flowers and foliage, leaves and stuff on the sidebar in separate graphic elements that you can drop and drag and change the design and make your own design on each month of the calendar. So I played around with that. That was fun. And I just got it back. They printed it and sent it out, and it's the 2020 wall calendar, and I love it. It's really cool. I love doing stuff like that. So that's it. That's all about the new stuff here. Let's talk about Quilt Market. Quilt Market was just this past week in Houston, and I think everybody knows what Quilt Market is, but just in case you don't, Quilt Market is a trade show for the quilt industry. Fabrics, notions, tools, patterns, anything that a quilt shop needs to source for their quilt shop, online and brick and mortar stores. So this is where everybody goes. And the fall market is the main market. They also have a spring market, which I guess is a little smaller. But now everybody kind of knows about market because of all of our social media. All of us that are not like directly in a quilt business, like a quilt shop, we kind of can experience it from a distance, and we get to kind of have sneak peeks of all the introductions of the new fabrics and everything. But having said that, I don't like to go crazy on it and be so into it that I want to know every single thing that's happening, because I just think that, sometimes the element of surprise is also nice too, when the collections actually do make it to the quilt shops and you can actually purchase this fabric. Because, all right, let me just get into this right now. This is my personal opinion. So It just is. And I just think that when you go to market and these quilt shops order all of these fabrics for their stores, they do not get to sell them for another 6 months. It's like 2 whole seasons have, passed. We go through fall and winter, and spring is when these fabrics come out. And then now that you can see all these new introductions and what they look like and what they are, you just you get really excited about it, and then you just can't even order it. You can't even buy it. So I don't know. I just think that it's kind of an old school way to source and purchase, like to do business purchasing. This is just me though. I mean, you guys, I'm just on my own little soapbox here. So not like it's going to change or anything, but you know how like you feel like you can solve the world's problems? That's what I'm doing right here. I'm going to solve the quilt market world problem here. Here's my idea. So if there are any quilt shops fabric companies or quilt market that's listening, and I'm sure they've heard this before. They're probably not even hearing this for the first time. But my brilliant idea is, why not buy inventory and have fabric collections printed and ready to sell at market, where these quilt shops can order and get these fabrics within 4 weeks and they can sell them. Why not do that for the designers that are going to sell these collections? Now, because that's really the big thing. I think that is the one major obstacle that keeps the fabric companies from making these fabrics available to buy at market, is that they don't know what's going to sell. They're not going to invest a ton of money and print all these lines of fabrics from multiple designers and lose money on this. So I do get that. I get that part. But, for example, Tula Pink. She has a new collection that's coming out in March, and it's called Homemade. And this collection looks outstanding. It is amazing. And this is one collection that I am going to count down the days until I can get it, because it's really nice. It's like, and of course, Tula is so smart. She's marketing a product of her products. She's marketing her fabric that she's designed of the products that her name is on. So her sewing machine with Bernina is on her main statement fabric, and all of the ancillary fabrics in the collection are all filled with different sewing tools and notions that you would use in your everyday sewing. And of course, they're Tula products. They're Tula scissors, Tula rotary cutters. So there's thread, it's probably Aurifil thread that she's using in her fabrics, but it's fun, and it's in fun colors as usual. I love her color palettes because there usually are, a purple and mint green or aqua and pink, which they are. So why not pre-order and have her collections printed and available to sell at market to these quilt shops that they can get, fairly quickly, because that will sell. Tula is a proven fabric designer, and her collections sell out. So that would be kind of a much lower risk than selling someone that's either their first collection or, you just don't know. They're maybe unpredictable. Allison Glass is another designer I think of. Her collections are going to sell. Art Gallery Fabrics. I mean, come on, Juicy Juice. All of those guys, make their fabrics available sooner. Okay, that's it. I'm done off of my soapbox, but, in a perfect world, that's how I think quilt market should be done. Okay. Anyway, back to quilt market and what was going on this fall last week. So a couple of people did really well at documenting and posting videos and content right away, because now that market's long over and stuff, it's like I'm not really going to go back and like try to find what's going on at market. I was really like into it while it was going on, while, everybody was there. And the Fat Quarter Shop has YouTube channel, and they did videos before they went to market, while they were at market, and they were so good. They went to all the booths where they ordered fabrics. They were getting, everybody excited about what's, coming 6 months from now. But quilt kits and everything, they were talking to the designers of the fabrics, and they were posting these videos right away. And that was really cool. That was just amazing. And I was like watching all of their videos. So very good, Fat Quarter Shop. And the other person that posted, she didn't post videos, but she posted photos on her own Facebook group, Krista Watson. And she also did post almost real time as she was experiencing market, and just about her own fabric line that was being introduced, and the people that were there. And she had a photograph with her and several of the other fabric designers for the line that she designs for, which is Bernard Tex. She has a really nice photograph with Eleanor Burns and another fabric designer, which I should know her name, but I can't remember it. Pretty well known and established. But that was amazing. That is so cool that she, gets to hang out with Eleanor Burns. But yeah, I love watching and seeing Krista's, all of her updates. And she's so positive and happy. And you really can't help but be excited, and her just positive nature just kind of is infectious, is what I want to say. And then one other thing about market is there is a new fabric designer. He is launching his very first fabric collection as a fabric designer for Northcott Fabrics. His name is Brett Lewis, and his brand is called Natural Born Quilter. The name of his new collection, his first collection, is called Stag and Thistle. And this is done in all my favorite colors. You know my favorite colors: purple, teal, pink, indigo, magenta. It's really beautiful. I love the fabrics that I saw that are coming out in this collection. And there's the big statement fabric with the big deer, with the antlers. But it looks like it's really large scale. That's pretty interesting. I can't wait to see it. I definitely am going to be looking for that collection when it comes out. But this guy, he, if you haven't already, you may probably have seen it, because he did a great job in marketing for himself and for Northcott Fabrics, his collection. He posted on Instagram like clockwork. And not only did he do a lot of posts, but he just came across as just super nice and happy. He was so happy to be at market. I was so happy for him. I mean, I don't even know this person, but I feel like, like I could be his, good friend. And I think that's how it is with all of us. We just, we have that common thread that binds us of being quilters or, sewing, sewists or whatever, creative people. And we love to see people get excited about what they do and their creativity. So this guy, maybe I can get him on my show. I was thinking about that. I hope so. That would be really cool. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Brett Lewis's first fabric collection called Stag and Thistle. I have a commissioned project. I talked about it a little bit, and I am restoring and repairing a king-size silk quilt. The client's dog chewed a hole through it, and I found some silk dupioni fabric that I am going to repair the quilt with, and I was working on it last week. I really had to think about it a lot because I wasn't sure, how I was going to go about doing this and how I was going to incorporate, the new batting to replace. I mean, there's like a huge, empty hole there. So you've got to put the fabric and the batting, and it has to be quilted. And you really only get one shot at this because silk fabric, the needle, the needle holes, if you take out stitching, you're going to be able to see it. I mean, you might be able to steam it out, but I think it's just one of those things where you've got to get it right the first time because it's silk. So I did a practice piece last week. I had an extra piece of silk, and because I knew I was going to have to do a practice piece beforehand, and I wanted to know exactly the quilt design that I was going to do on this, and practiced it, and definitely had a little bit of kinks to work out, but now I feel a lot more confident in moving forward with the actual real deal. And I decided that I am not going to quilt these pieces directly onto this big king-size quilt. So what I'm going to do is I'm making little applique pieces. One that goes on the front of the quilt and the one that goes on the back of the quilt. And I am pre-quilting those pieces individually. And then I will hand applique them onto the quilt. That really is the only way that it is going to have a seamless look and like the design was meant to be there. So that's how I'm going to do it. And it looks like it's going to work. So I took a photograph of the practice quilted piece. I showed it to the client, and she seemed really happy about it. In fact, it exceeded her expectations. She didn't even think that, it was going to be like that. She really thought it was more going to be like a patch. And I was like, no, this cannot be a patch. It's going to look like it was made that way. So, it was pretty cool. It's always nice when you can exceed expectations. All right, so my next topic is about holiday home decor. We are quickly approaching Thanksgiving, and then soon after is all of the December holidays, Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa. So there's a lot of entertaining that's going to take place, and maybe you are going to be the host and are going to entertain family and friends this year. So let's talk about the dining room and just some different things to think about when you are planning to entertain for the holidays. So let's just talk about Thanksgiving to begin with. So in the dining room, you have a dining table, and let's talk about the tabletops, because the tabletops of dining tables, you've got to know what type of lacquer is on top of your dining tabletop, and that kind of will determine how heavily you have to protect it. So if you, let me also back up here. If you are in the market and you're looking for dining tables, here are some things to think about. A lot of times when you buy a nice dining table, they will have an option for you to order table pads that are made to the exact shape of that table and size. And if the table has extension leaves, there will also be table pads made in the shape of the extension leaf that can hook together with the other two table pads and be one piece on top of the table. These table pads are very nice because they protect the tabletop surface, and they keep the heat away from the surface of the table. And it's still a lot of tops of them are mostly vinyl, and it's a nice still like um, a hard tables type of a surface. So I would definitely recommend investing in table pads. So if you don't have table pads, you can order them from there are online companies that will make table pads for you, and you can I think send in like measurements or you know the sending a template of the top of your table. So there are ways to order table pads after the fact. And they run about like $200 to $300. So it is an investment, but if you tend to entertain a lot throughout the year, I think it's really a good thing to invest in. If you do not, then there's other ways to protect the tabletop. And I know that a lot of people think that tablecloths are old-fashioned, but they really are not. We make a lot of tablecloths for design clients for their dining rooms. And what we do is we layer. So if it's just like a tablecloth and that's it, then yeah, maybe that could look a little dated or, not as, modern. But if you layer a table runner down the center of the table on top of a tablecloth, that's already elevating the look right there. And then if you add placemats for each place setting, that's even another layer. Now you have made this really luxe looking tablescape, and it is serving multiple purposes where it is going to protect your tabletop. A tablecloth alone in a placemat is not going to protect it from the heat and or water rings. So that's why a placemat will help that. If the glass, the water glass or whatever the glasses are filled with, there's room for them on the placemat, then that will definitely help protect the table from water and condensation rings. But you will still have to put down some sort of a trivet type of thing to protect the table if you're putting hot foods onto the table. That's why table pads are really nice, because you don't have to worry about it. You can just put any hot thing and liquid right down on top of the table. Well, table pads will definitely need to be covered up with a tablecloth, because they're not, they don't look good on their own. They're just kind of like a supporting layer. So think about using a tablecloth and table runner and placemats, cloth napkins, and then backing up again, the type of lacquer that's on your table. So a lot of the tables made, modern day made tabletops, a lot of them do already have what is called a catalyzed lacquer. And a catalyzed is a very hard protective lacquer that allows you to put a wet glass directly on top of it, and you will not get a water ring. It makes it a lot more impervious to everyday use and scratches and spills and accidents. A lot of times that catalyzed lacquer is put on more like everyday kitchen tables. But more formal furniture, dining tables, a lot of times will not have that hard catalyzed lacquer finish on there. They will have like a regular furniture lacquer on the wood tabletop, because it shows the beauty of the wood that is the table is made out of. And then even above that, there are some tables, and usually you find this in the really high-end tables, that the lacquer is like a wax. It's a real soft wax finish. And those finishes are very delicate. In fact, we have a client right now that her table is at the refinishers, and we are having the tabletop refinished. And I have specifically asked them to put the hard catalyzed lacquer on the top because this table used to be in their dining room before the house was renovated. Now it's their everyday kitchen table. So it needs to have that protection on there because it keeps getting really deeply scratched and damaged by rings and spills. So, having said that, you can have, if you need your tabletop, because you can have just the top of the table refinished, and you can find a local refinisher that will do it, and it really will extend the life of the dining table you have and really bring new life to it. So there is a little bit of time still if you want to get that done, maybe for Thanksgiving, but definitely for Christmas and the other December holidays. So, but think about that. Even if you don't do it this year, just have that in your mind and file it away that if your table does need to be refinished, that there's other options. Because especially if you really like to see the beauty of your wood table and you don't want to cover it up with a tablecloth, then that's a way to go. Because if you have that harder catalyzed finish on the top of the table, then it needs much less protection, and you can put your place settings directly onto it. However, I really do love table linens, so I still like for a formal dinner, I would still put a tablecloth and layer it up with runners and placemats and chargers and all of that good stuff. But yeah, that's for the dining tables. And let's talk about Thanksgiving centerpieces. So centerpieces, they kind of go through different types of what's in, what's out, what's the new hot thing. And I mean, you remember the times when the centerpieces were like these ginormous branches that was just like but it was like huge scale in a large glass vase. I mean, that was kind of like, I don't know, that was years ago, but I remember when that was like the thing. I tend to like smaller, I guess, kind of a centerpiece, but it kind of goes the length of the table so that everyone sitting there has something really pretty centerpiece-wise to look at. And I also love very natural centerpieces. So one of my favorite things to do is to go to the grocery store and to get, this time of year through the winter, Satsuma oranges. They're really beautiful shaped oranges that have leaves on them. So you'll know what they are when you go there, and they're a type of a mandarin / tangerine like combined, but they're called Satsuma. And on top of that, they're very delicious to eat. But those are beautiful to do tablescapes with. And because they have the leaves on them, even more so. So if you kind of like put them in groupings, and what I like to do is put them, instead of like in a straight line in the center of your table, do more of an organic S-shaped line down your table. And as it curves in and out in those shapes of curves, that's where you can place all of your dishes, your side dishes, and the big main dish and stuff. So it doesn't, the centerpiece doesn't take part of the huge part of the table that really is needed to place all of these delicious, food things on the table. So doing that in an S shape, and you can combine these Satsuma oranges that have leaves on them with mini pumpkins, cranberries. You can get, you can even combine them with non-real things like vines from Michael's, like these garland vines with leaves or sunflowers or that sort of thing. Combining real with the faux. It's fun. It's not that expensive. And I think it's a refreshing look. And then for the candles, it's nice to do a lot of little votive candles up and down the table because, again, everybody that's sitting there wants to kind of have a piece of that, the star of the table. So everybody gets a little bit of that centerpiece right in front of them. And it's a lot of fun. And then it's not so intrusive. And when you get into those big centerpieces and that classic thing where people are dodging and they're trying to look at the person directly across from them, but they can't see them because the flowers are in the way. So yeah, those are just some ideas for decorating tablescapes for Thanksgiving. And let's talk a little bit about hostess gifts. Because a lot of us we sew and we quilt, and you probably already know this, but I'm just reminding you that you can, a lot of times right now, a lot of us do not have time for anything, but making a set of coasters, quilted fabric coasters, not quilted, whatever, everybody loves those as gifts. Every time I give them and I think, oh, it's just coasters, they love it because you made it, first of all. It's custom because they can't get it anywhere else. So that's a beautiful gift. You can make a set of 6 coasters, 8 coasters, even 4 coasters if it's a small gathering. But a set of coasters and wrap it in a pretty ribbon. And it's really a nice thing. You can even combine it with a bottle of wine or make your own little custom gift sort of set for the host or hostess that you're going to Thanksgiving. Another thing is to make a fabric wine bag. Those are pretty quick and easy to make and very impressive. You can gift the bottle of wine in your custom made wine bag. And then another thing is sometimes you are assigned or you want to bring over a dish. Sometimes it's a dessert or an appetizer or a side dish. So I just came across these really cool recipes. And of course, from YouTube, because you guys know me, I love my YouTube. So it's kind of a thing that I wind down the day with. I love going to my Apple TV and clicking on YouTube. And there's this channel called, what's it called? Cooking with Laura? Yeah. Wait, I got to pull this up really quickly because I saved it to my Instapaper app. No, it's called Laura in the Kitchen. She's actually pretty well established. She's got like a lot of cookbooks, and I think she's been on Food Network, and she's definitely been on some of the morning shows. I think her gig was the Today Show. But she is really, she has some really good recipes, and here's a few that I want to make and bring for the holidays, throughout the holidays this year. For an appetizer, she has a spinach and artichoke dip recipe, and you make the outer bowl out of these store-bought rolls, like from the freezer section. She said you can even make it from those canned biscuits or rolls. What is it, the Pillsbury ones? But I like how she did, there are those little round dinner rolls. I've seen them in the freezer section. So nice little shortcut, and it makes this super impressive appetizer dish. And in the center, you make a ring out of these rolls, and then in the center is this decadent, delicious spinach and artichoke dip that you bake, and it's all nice and warm and bubbly. And then everybody takes a little piece of a dinner roll and dips it into the dip. So pretty impressive. I definitely want to make that. And then there are a couple of desserts that I saved too. One of them is called chocolate salami, and this one looks pretty easy. I mean, basically you're melting semi-sweet and bittersweet chocolates together and putting in a couple of filler things like almonds. But you're making it into a roll and then you're slicing it up, and it does look like chocolate salami with the little almond pieces in it. So it's kind of a fun thing to do. I'll put a link to, she has a website where all of these recipes are at, and it's called laurainthekitchen.com. The last one I saw that I am definitely going to make is gingerbread bundt cake with cream cheese frosting. And the cream cheese frosting is drizzled over this bundt cake. And then she added like these really fun confetti sprinkles on the top. It's really festive. But the recipe itself looked really delicious and not that hard. So I'm really excited about these new recipes. And sometimes I get into the rut of making the same things every year because, you know, certain things you have to because it's tradition. Like in my family, I have this recipe for kolachki cookies, but it's not, every time I say kolachki, it's people don't understand of what type it is, and it really is more like a crescent cookie. But it's a recipe passed down from my grandmother, and she called it kolachkis, and so that's what we make. And it is a cream cheese dough filled with whatever fruit filling you want. My favorite is the almond filling, and my husband loves the raspberry. And you roll it up and you shape it into a crescent, and it's got these light, delicate layers. And to top it off, it is sprinkled with powdered sugar. So that's one of my family's traditional recipes that gets made every year during the holidays. But, you know, I like to rotate in some new stuff in there, new flavors and new things. So I'm looking forward to trying these recipes out. If you guys end up making any of these recipes or other recipes from Laura in the Kitchen, or even the recipes for the Instant Pot from, his name is Jeffrey. Pressure Luck is his, pressureluck.com, I think is his website, and Pressure Luck is the YouTube channel. All right, and one last thing before I go for this episode, you guys, is I got another Patreon member, and at the tier level where part of the reward is a shout out on the podcast. So I would like to thank Kimberly from Ohio. She is at the handmade tier level, and a very generous subscription that she signed up for. And I'm really appreciative and grateful for the support. And not only did she subscribe to my Patreon page, but she also sent a very generous donation through my podcast page where I have a donation button. It's a one-time deal, and you can donate whatever amount that you feel comfortable with at any time. You can donate one time, and then maybe next quarter you want to do it again. So both of those options are there. And I just posted on that the flying geese level and the handmade level. I also part of the rewards is me posting some videos of behind the scenes and whatever else, like just you know, some videos that will get posted here and there. And I posted my first one today, and it was a behind the scenes of me podcasting. So a huge thank you again to Kimberly from Ohio. Thank you for supporting me on Patreon. And you guys go check out my Patreon page, Make and Decorate. It's patreon.com/make and decorate. So we're building a community, and there. So there's a feed, and yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I really am very appreciative of any support that anyone can give. It really does help with the everyday production of the podcast, and I really enjoy meeting all of you. And as always, definitely send me your feedback at any time. My email, Instagram, website, and I love to hear from you. And be sure to subscribe if you listen on iTunes and rate and review. Even if you don't have time to write a review on iTunes, even if you click, the 5 stars, if you love it that much, that helps with visibility on iTunes. All right, guys, you have a wonderful Halloween and a happy November. I will see you next time, and I will have a guest on that episode. And just so you guys get excited about, there's an episode coming up in early December, and it's, for me, a really big one. And I'm going to give you some hints across the next couple of episodes. So what is a hint I can give you today? Let's see. All right. This guest lives in another country, and I'll even give you Europe. There we go. That's your first clue. All right. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to the Make and Decorate podcast. The podcast is produced, edited, and hosted by Stephanie Socha, me. And you can find the show notes at my website, stephaniesochadesign.com. You can find me on Instagram, and remember to rate and review and check out my Patreon page. Bye-bye.